Well, it's summer again, and you know what that means. Baseball season. And since my Phillies aren't doing too hot this year, I figured I'd take a look at a zero-to-hero baseball movie. So for everyone whose team is having one of those seasons, there's always the movie Major League. Now there are lots of other feel-good baseball movies, Bull Durham, Field of Dreams, and the 97 other baseball movies starring Kevin Costner. But Major League takes a more lighthearted approach at America's pastime, all while maintaining that wonderful 80s cheesiness. The plot centers around Rachel Phelps, the new owner of the Cleveland Indians franchise. She's just inherited the team and wants to move the Indians to the warm climate of Miami because she's going to get all kinds of perks like getting a free membership at some country club. Hey, that kind of reminds me of someone. Well, at least she doesn't want to move the team to Albuquerque. Anyway, her plan is to sign no-name players, and players way past their prime, in order to intentionally lose. If they can get the stadium attendance to under 800,000 for the year, their contract with the city of Cleveland will expire and they will be able to relocate. So I'm sure you can already see where this is going. Eventually the team finds out about the plan, and instead of rolling over and just giving up, they decide to fight and win the World Series for the city of Cleveland. Maybe a certain someone never learned his lesson from this movie. However, winning it all is easier said than done, especially for a team that's as historically bad as the Indians. Hey, being from Philadelphia, I know how hard that can be. So the Indians start the season off pretty badly, but the manager sees a lot of potential in his team and knows that if the players can overcome their flaws, then they can win. Now we have the players, all guys that were overlooked by other ball clubs because of hilarious quirks. There's Willie Mays Hayes, the speedy center fielder who always flies out to the infield. He's also played by Wesley Snipes, so before he was kicking vampire ass as Blade, he was stealing bases in the majors. Then there's Pedro Serrano, a power hitter who can't hit curveballs, so he practices voodoo in order to improve his game. He does things like sacrificing rum to the god Jobu, making loud noises in the locker room to wake up his bats, and he even tries to sacrifice a chicken before a game. Eddie Harris, on the other hand, is a devout Christian who isn't too comfortable with Serrano's religious practices. Roger Dorn is a rich douche who cares more about money and his career after baseball than about winning, so he won't go after ground balls because it could mean major injury. Then there's veteran catcher Jake Taylor. He's the team's leader, having had a long and successful baseball career, but a chronic knee injury forced him into early retirement, and his season with the Indians is his last chance to go out in a blaze of glory. Taylor also represents the film's main character, as his personal life figures into the plot of the film. He is still in love with his ex-girlfriend, Lynn, who is now engaged to some other dude. They broke up because during his younger days, he was a bit of an immature playboy whose life revolved around baseball. When he's not on the field, Taylor's trying to win her back by showing her that he has grown up and that he can take an interest in her career. For the most part, Taylor's backstory is just filler, and it really only serves to give the movie a bit more depth. Last but not least, there's Ricky Wild Thing Vaughn, played by Charlie Sheen. Sure, now he's become a bit of a joke, but back in 1989 when this film was made, he was a hot actor. He was fresh off his role in Platoon, which incidentally also starred Tom Berenger, who plays Jake Taylor, and his cameo in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and he certainly doesn't disappoint in Major League. He plays a pitcher who was just released from jail, of course. He's nicknamed the Wild Thing because while he can throw really, really fast, he also can't throw strikes.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
Later in the movie, his manager gets him glasses, which fixes his control problem. Charlie Sheen is apparently a pretty talented pitcher himself, and at the time of the filming, could throw about 85 miles an hour. He also stated in a 2011 interview that he used steroids in order to prepare for Major League. Now that's a method actor, people. Some actors would start going to baseball games or join a softball league, but Charlie Sheen uses drugs.
I'm by winning. I win here and I win there. Now what?
The film also stars Neil Flynn, better known as the janitor from Scrubs, as he makes not one but 6 cameos as a die-hard Indians fan. Well, anyway, these guys gotta work together not only to win games, but also to save the Cleveland Indians franchise. And what kind of self-respecting sports movie would this be without a training montage? So of course, after a rocky start to the season where they get rocked by the MLB antagonists, the New York Yankees, the Indians have a training montage of their own in order to make themselves as good as Rocky. Yeah, because Rocky did it, every other sports movie had to do it too, but that's okay. How else would you condense 162 games into 106 minutes? So of course, the Indians get better and tie the Yankees for first place in the AL East. So they have to play a 163rd game to determine who makes the postseason. Now, I was a 1-year-old when this movie was made, and baseball has changed a lot since this movie came out. And I actually had to research the structure of the MLB because for my entire life, baseball has had 6 divisions, not 4 like they had in 1989. The Indians are now in the AL Central Division and wouldn't be competing with the Yankees for a playoff spot, unless it was for the wild card. Yeah, I know it's confusing, and if you're not a huge baseball fan, it might not make sense, but basically it's very rare in baseball for 2 teams to play each other in a one-game series. It still does happen, however, even today, and it perfectly captures the drama of the sport of baseball in a sports movie. Baseball is a long season, and if a team doesn't play well on a particular day, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. Even during the playoffs, a team can play poorly one game and still advance in the next round. But when it's a one-game series, every hit and every out matter. And this movie's finale is really where it shines. Because it's a one-game series, against those damn Yankees no less, this movie's climax is just as exciting as a must-win baseball game. And even if you think baseball is the most boring sport on earth, this movie's climax is still suspenseful because you've gotten to know the characters and how much winning really means to them. It perfectly captures the suspenseful nature of the game of baseball that you really don't find in any other sport. While baseball is a team game, ultimately it comes down to a one-on-one matchup between the pitcher and the hitter. And the climax of Major League really captures the stress of that one-on-one matchup. All the players' flaws are finally beaten. Jake Taylor is able to leg out a single despite his weak knees, the Wild Thing is able to control his pitches and strike batters out, and Pedro Serrano hits a 2-strike curveball into the stands. Of course the Indians win, and make the playoffs, proving that a pack of misfits can still win. And as the movie ends, Jake Taylor's ex-girlfriend Lynn holds up her hand to show that she has gotten rid of her engagement ring, implying that she is willing to give Jake another shot. Major League isn't a perfect movie. It's pretty heavy on the 80s, with bad hair, bad mustaches, and bad 80s music. But it has the same charm that any other underdog story does. It's a predictable movie, but that doesn't make it any less fun. And you really find yourself rooting for this Indians team the same way you would root for your home team. If you don't like baseball, this movie may not be up your alley, but if you have even a passing interest in the sport and haven't seen this movie, you really need to see it pronto. Well, snap back to reality. This kind of thing doesn't often happen in real life. At the time of this review, my Phillies are still in last place, and are under 500, meaning they've lost more games than they've won. The Phillies probably won't be winning it all this year, and knowing Philadelphia sports, probably not next year either. But movies like Major League can give even the most cynical fan hope, because miracles do happen and teams do rally. So for those of you whose teams are doing well this season, I'll say congratulations and good luck. And to everyone else, I'll say come football season, you better watch out because I have a feeling about the Eagles this year.
Nobody recognizes us, not even in our own hometown.
That's why we carry the American Express card.
No matter how far out of first we are, it's cool. You know, it keeps us from getting shut out at our favorite hotels and restaurant-type places.
So you're looking for some big league clout. Apply for that little green home run heater.
Look what it's done for us. People still don't recognize us, but
We're contenders now.
The American Express card.
Don't steal home without it.